What you're seeing there is no other than a planetmobile. And I believe this one was used in that episode of Little Einsteins, which I talked about in the last episode of this series. And you've probably seen these everywhere now. But didn't you know about these planetmobiles? It's these things that carries planets. And most of the time, they hang from ceilings of any room. And most of them have a sun in the center of them, just to represent our solar system. But didn't you know that these planets are still out there in the galaxy today? That is why in this episode, we'll take a look at our planets in our solar system. A string of 8 planets, formerly 9, that orbit around the sun. And although the Big Bang occurred 13.8 billion years ago, our solar system formed around 4.5 billion years ago, which formed planets like Earth, Jupiter, and many others. And I believe this is the mission that the team went on to help Rocket fall asleep by counting planets. And speaking of counting, we'll take a look at each individual planet in order. And this first one is Mercury, also known as the closest planet to the sun. And this formed along with Venus and other planets. And I believe that the surface has a rocky substance. But it managed to complete its orbit around the sun in just about 88 Earth days. Anyway, this next one, the team quoted is where we flew, is Venus, the second planet from the sun, which formed along with Mercury, as mentioned before. And I think that the surface has very hot temperatures according to an online database regarding the planet. And this next one, which the team quoted and us quoted that it's our home planet, is of course Earth, which the third planet from the sun and the only planet in our galaxy that supports life and has water. But keep in mind that when this planet first formed, it was a magma ocean planet with very hot temperatures, until years later it got its water, its biomes, and life. But I think this is where the mission started here before they got out of that planet to go to space, before heading back home by flying all the way from Pluto to here. This fourth planet, which the team quoted right next door, is Mars, also known as the red planet in our solar system. And I think that this planet has Mars rovers, which was mentioned in that specific episode. And I think that this planet experienced many dust storms during the times, like the one that occurred while the Einsteins were on that planet. But here is where we meet our giants. These are our solar system giants, with 2 of them being gas and 2 of them being ice. And the gas giants are an important part of our solar system. But speaking of important, this next planet, which we're explaining, is, of course, Jupiter, the biggest and 5th planet away from the Sun. And it's well known for its great red spot, which is a centuries-old storm. But I think in the near future, I don't think that will last forever. But I think this is the planet where the team got stuck in its winds, which I explained in the last episode. But I don't think it has any surface because if a spacecraft tries to land on it, it will likely sink into the planet due to it having a gaseous substance. But this next planet, which the team quoted just a short drive, is, of course, Saturn, a second gas giant. And it's well known for its rings. But I think the surface also has a gaseous substance, like Jupiter. But keep in mind that in the first episode of Little Einsteins titled Ring Around the Planet, the team goes to space, which they flew to this planet to return a lost ring, which June witnessed it fall off while looking in her telescope. And this next planet, which the team quoted, "It looks blue," is of course this. I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's Uranus, the planet. Not anything else. But it's a nice giant. But anyways, in some illustrations of this planet, it has very faint rings and some moons around it. And while it has a very rocky core, its surface has a record-breaking freezing temperatures, making it the coldest planet in our solar system. But anyways, this next one, which the team quoted, looks that way too, is Neptune, another ice giant, which is considered the farthest planet from the Sun. But I think the surface somewhat has lower temperatures than the 7th planet. Anyways, this last planet, which I think the team found it behind the second ice giant. And I think this episode aired 10 days before the IAU reclassified it as a dwarf planet. And you guessed it, guys. This last planet, which the team quoted last in line, is, of course, Pluto, the farthest, smallest, and now considered dwarf planet away from the Sun. While dwarf planets were discovered around the 20th century, starting with the one that looks like an asteroid but is somewhat a planet, this one here wasn't reclassified until the year 2006, which was the same year that where a Galactic Good Night premiered as well. But I think it will complete its orbit in the coming few years. But I think that this planet is still out there somewhere in the universe. Our planets mean more to us, with having different types of atmospheres, its cores, and of course, its very own story.